G'day, Stu from UAVfutures here. Welcome to our weekly live stream. Happy flying. We've got a whole bunch to talk about today. Thank you so much for tuning in. We're going to be having a good time talking about all things FPV. Wherever you are in the world, grab yourself a cup of coffee, grab a drink, sit back, relax, and enjoy some FPV news. We're going to be talking about a lot of topics today. Let me go through, do a couple of quick little audio checks. I can already see some people in the chat here. The people who are part of the UAVfutures family saying, Stuart, the audio is looking good, sounding great. So there we go. I do have a new camera for the first time in a long time. I'm so used to looking slightly over to the side, so forgive me if I'm not looking in the correct direction. But let me tell you what is coming up in today's stream, just while we're here at the start. Hopefully everything is going well. All right, we're going to be talking about this drone right here. This is the kind of like, it looks wild. This is from Droner. So we're going to be talking about like some old frames versus new frames and a bit of a direction that the hobby might be shifting to. We have a giveaway running. We're going to be talking about this. This is a bit of a modern classic. So this is the Archetype. We'll be talking about that. The HDZERO Radio. So I think that came out last week or in the last couple of days. There was a lot of videos out there about the HDZERO Radio, which looks pretty cool. We're going to be breaking that down, having a look at it. We're going to be talking a little bit about mental health as well for some support and offering just some thoughts on that. I do want to talk about one of the classics, the TBS Vendetta. If you've just joined FPV or you've been in it only in the 2020s plus, you will see a bit of a blast from the past. We might be able to help somebody out today. I want to talk about this little plane that we've got right here and a couple of, well, I'll get it out in a little bit. Some dramas with binding up a plane with a multi-protocol radio. We're going to be looking at a Mosquito, like an indoor flyer, which was really fun. We're going to be talking about Cadex, showing some mounting options, which first goggles to get, a whole bunch, as well as answering your questions, hanging out with you guys week in, week out, and a huge shout out to every single person who is here watching this, because I would like to say to you that you are valued, you are cared about. Thank you so much for tuning in. And even if you are watching this not live, I'm taking the time out of this right now, and I know you might be dismissive. Yes, Stuart, get on with the drones. Like that, is that you? I'm saying that you really are cared about, and you are special. You are unique, and thanks so much for just tuning in. You deserve to have a good day, and I just want to maybe say that, just to put it out here digitally from my microphone all the way to your ears, to say that you are valued, cared about, and thank you for being here. I can see some amazing people in the chat right now as well. I have to give a huge shout out. Handy Racer, thank you very much. He gave me a super chat before this even started, so before we're even live. Thank you so much for sending that through. And thank you to every single other person who was a Patreon. And also, if you are one of the members here, that'll be all the people with the little green names. You can see them in here in the chat. I'm sure they might type something if I'm saying, hey, if you're part of a Patreon or one of the members here, please just give me a thumbs up or put one of those special emojis in the chat as well. There's some bonus videos for you. And without your support, without the people who are here week in, week out, supporting what we do on UAVfutures, I wouldn't be able to do this. You are really the lifeblood of this FPV channel and building cool things and sharing this message with anybody. And I got to say, I really did appreciate Happy Fly's message to say thanks to Stu for doing these streams to help to bring the community together and share the fun of the FPV hobby. And that's what it's all about. It is all about getting out, flying, meeting new people, being part of this amazing FPV hobby. So whether you've been in for over a decade or whether you are just starting out, welcome to the UAVfutures live streams, our weekly streams where we talk all things FPV and just spread the joy that we have with this hobby. So let me jump over here right now and we can start straight away. Shoot sent through some memberships. Thank you very much there, Shoot FPV. That just came through on that as well. Yeah, thank you. It looks like they've all been claimed there. You'll have some bonus access to some extra videos, extra emojis, all that sort of stuff. Thank you very much there, Shoot FPV. Please send me a message as well on DIY FPV. I'll have to put my link to my actual profile, but I truly appreciate it. Thank you so much. All right. And Happy Flyer says, don't struggle alone. If you need help, reach out. We are the FPV team. Yeah, I've actually just started also too talking. I know we're going to talk about drones. One more little bit on mental health. In some of my last videos, there is a link in there now I've been putting in for Beyond Blue. So that's an Australian organization to help people with mental health. So if you are struggling, you are not feeling yourself, it is not weak to speak, that link is in the description down there. You should, well, it should be in the description of all my normal videos. I think I'm going to have to add it into my live stream ones as well. Okie dokie. Let's see. Excuse me. I also have a cold, so that's why I wasn't here last week. I do apologize, but yeah, it's taken a little bit to recover. But here we are. Let's kick it off with the first part. Unless you've got some questions, please feel free to I cannot talk properly. Feel free to throw any questions you've got in the chat as well. Okay. The first thing I would like to talk about is this right here. And this turned up sometime last week. And when I took it out of the box, like I see a lot of fairly typical drones, but tell me what you think about the shape of this thing. It is relatively heavy. It has some crazy claims. It's from a new company. Well, I think they're relatively new. They're called Droneer and droneer.com. Trying to search for this was a bit of a nightmare as well. And it wasn't actually in my email. I had a message on my WeChat message, and that's why it was a bit of a nightmare to try and find as well. But this, it looks kind of wild. Like, it doesn't look bad, but it does feel a little bit heavy. There is a lot of extra plastic on here, but it is an indication that we are moving to a space where customers, and I'm saying that when people go to the shops, they don't want to see wires hanging out everywhere and all over the place. They are much more comfortable with something that looks like a product that they are used to purchasing. So, which would be something like this. I could expect to see this in a high-end, like a DJI kind of shop. People saying chunky and modern. Yeah. It's got some pretty wild claims. It's got some big air vents in there as well. It definitely looks like it's got a lot of time put into it. But I have their website up now, which is, here we go. It's got some wild claims, which I'm a little bit skeptical of. We'll have to put them to the test. We have, here we go. And I actually don't know the price of this. I'm going to expect it's expensive because we have some stuff in here. I really hate websites that have like this stupid scroll sort of thing. Can we just have let's jump to the specs. It is actually called the Droneer X501. And here it is. We have apparently a pretty low hover point. We'll have to see. And I would suggest that's probably with a very light battery. They've got a couple of things here, like a max speed of 180 kilometers. I don't think so. I don't think that this is going to hit 180 Ks. We will probably have to test that out with a speed gun. And we also have a max flight time of 18 minutes, which is absolutely wild. There is no way that these are going to be on the same specs here. You're not going to be getting 180 Ks as well as a flight time. Now, if we have a look at some of the different pictures, it doesn't look terribly aerodynamic as well. Like, you've got extra weight here in the feet. None of that is actually needed. Someone saying AA said, all these years in FPV and I've never tried a pre-built quad. There's nothing wrong with a pre-built. You just have to get the right one. And some are made better than others. I do think, like, it is a really nice looking drone, but we've been around for long enough to know that a lot of this extra stuff is actually a hindrance to how we fly. Like, all this extra plastic all over the place, I don't know if we actually need that. I'm telling you, we don't actually need that. It would fly better without that. Sort of strip it down. And a good example might be if you bought a luxury car today and then you looked at what they do to that same, when I say a luxury car, let's say you buy a stock car that could be used for rally, and then you look at the rally equivalent, what people in the rally hobby do. They will strip out everything from that car and just have what is needed to make a performance vehicle. This is probably a little bit on the experience a fast rally car with a lot of the luxuries. And that, when I say luxuries, I'm talking about like those little feet landing part, little feet pads, the plastic shell that goes around the outside to keep it all nice and clean and shiny. So yes, let's see some of the specs of this. This is all just, okay, it's got GPS. I don't know, 155-degree field of view. Is that just the standard DJI field of view? Because, let's have a look. It's not doing anything special with the camera. So that's more of like the drone's Okay, so this is the Droner X501. This is relating to the DJI system. We will have to see how fast it is. Okay, so I don't know. It's not doing anything terribly exciting. It's more about the camera. So just some jargon to none of this is actually important to how the craft flies. I'm just trying to read this, like if it can actually do that itself, or, you know, you're still going to have to learn to fly. Okay, what do we have? Why is this one? Is that analog? Okay. What version did I get? I do have a DJI version. These days, it's all about looks cool for marketing. That's from Happy Flyer RC, yes. All right, and here we go. I'm trying to find some things about the actual drone. Like this is all about, this is a bit disappointing. I think you could probably go further with analog. Okay, here's some actual important parts. So 65 amp ESCs, that's pretty chunky. 2207 motors. What size kV? 1850 kV motors. So that's not a terribly high pitched motor. If you want to hit that 180 kilometers per hour, well, we'll have to see. I'm still doubting it. I do like the case. I just don't think it's not going to make for good flight experiences. Getting past here, we'll have to worry about how the heat goes as well. Some quick release arms, a USB port on the top or the bottom of the drone. I don't know what receiver I've got in here as well. Where is this USB port? It says supports 6S battery only. I bet you it would fly around on a 4S. No, it's not there. I do actually like a drone that has with a lot of warnings. So the parameters have been optimized. Do not modify arbitrarily. And make sure the VTX antenna is installed. Okay, there's the USB port. We've got that on the top right here. That's important. And then it is sometimes little touches like this. You can tell this is not designed really for hobbyists. This is probably like a middle ground, people who want to get DJI and maybe switch over to a real FPV drone. I would call this a real FPV drone. It is the little touches like which way do your motors go. So, you know, those little things do make a difference if you are getting into the hobby. Those little warnings are going to make a difference. Welcome, Anthony Zane. We are just looking at the X501, which is a pretty wild looking drone. All right, and the hardware overview here, this is rubbish. I don't trust this at all. For this drone, we have a 4,500 milliamp hour battery. If you want to get 18 minutes of flight time, that would be just at a hover. And then 8 minutes. All right, but I don't know how you're going to get the speeds as well. So there we go. That's what it is. I'm excited to actually try it out though, because it is different to the standard drones that we are getting. I'd love to know your thoughts. Would you fly this? What do you think about it? It's quite weighty. I think if this fell out of the sky, even though it's got some very, very chunky arms, I could see them still snapping or smashing. There is a bit of a trade-off when the more stuff you put on a drone like this, the more it's going to break. Other people saying it's very futuristic looking. And look, the plastic that is around the outside, there has been some real thought put into this. It's not just the cheap TPU mounted shell, and probably an example where we have, I don't know if you can actually see through it on this side, but if I get this in the right camera angle, is actually like a aluminium mesh or some sort of metal mesh that's there. So look, it's not a cheap drone. How much is the price? That's what we haven't figured out. How much is this drone? Let's put your comments right now. Guess how much is this Droneer X501? How much is the price of this? Because there must be some way to be able to purchase it, right? This right here. What's it going to cost? Can we add to cart? Support. Yeah. Buy. Oh, okay. So you can only... Broken my microphone. Check, check, check. Rip microphone. Sorry, I wasn't looking. Let me know if this microphone is any better now. I think I'm using the correct mic. Crackly. Okay, 1 2 1 2. What would this be? Sounds fine now. What about now? Right now. I need this is jumping back to my main face here. Sounds okay. Is okay acceptable, or it still sounds better? We can hear you 80% of the time. Oh man, okay, maybe I'm gonna need a new microphone. Like static. It sounds like static. But all good now. Better. It's all good now. Okay, you guys freaking me out. All right, it looks like for this, I am going to say $650 US. I don't think this is going to be a cheap drone at all. This is going to be expensive, and especially that we can't see how much the price is on that website. I don't know. I think it's going to be quite a lot of money. Time will tell. Time will tell. I'll have to send a message. I don't want to put this on the desk. I don't want to bump my microphone or my cable that we've got anything that's going away. Okay, and then that probably brings us on to this one. So if you are new to FPV or in the last 5 years, you've probably never experienced some true design, like amazing drones, things like the Armiton Chameleon. We had the Catalyst Machine Works America. We had some really, really amazing drones. And nowadays, most drones just look like this. Like if we jump over, where are we? Let's go to the catalog on DIY FPV. And let's have a look. Drones. A lot of the bind and flies that you get look like. Someone's saying interference maybe from the motor magnets. Wow. Okay, we should totally test that. Most drones look like this that we get nowadays. This is a very, very stock standard sort of looking drone. And a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with flying these around or flying around with the budget clone frames as well. However, we got to test out this the other day. If I can type properly. So here we go. It's available at Mantis FPV. I'll put this in the chat actually. Got to fly around with this. And it's an amazing drone, and I've got it right here. This bad boy. This is the Archetype. It was designed by Nick FPV, and this is probably as close to perfection, might be the wrong word, but it is just a solid, well-designed, nice frame with a lot of little touches and like a premium flight experience. So we flew this thing around, and you can look at the difference. This is the standard traditional sort of frame that we would have. It has a couple of little modern touches. There's a lot of little things, like if you notice how the carbon is cut around this front brace plate for the camera as well. It's got inside here, there's like a little keystone which helps with vibrations, and I guess like if you're going to have a large impact, it spreads that load. It's a really, really cool craft that I understand that not everybody's going to want to spend $100 on just the frame when they can probably get something that is going to fly in a similar fun fashion. And remember, it's not about having the best gear, it's about having the best gear. And if you get something like the TBS Source 1, which isn't even a clone frame, it's just an absolute budget frame, you're still going to have a great time with it. But this is for people who want something a little bit more And it is going to be a, just a more refined experience. We actually have one to give away. If you head over to DIY which is here, and you will notice there is this. Let me copy this. Copy link. And I'll post this here for you guys. Is the microphone still working? But right here, if you go comment, I just put a link in the chat to this because we have one to give away. So this blue one that you can see in this picture right here, that's downstairs. All you got to do is go put a comment on this post on DIY FPV, and you yourself can have access, or somebody is going to win. I will contact you through DIY FPV. We've got this awesome frame to give away. I also just did a video on it as well if you want to go check out my channel, but I really like it. And the big one too, it is 4 to 4.5 inch for a freestyle frame, not a 5-inch frame. And that made a big difference because when we're flying this around, it has next to 0 prop wash. You'll see that in the video as well. When I drop out of the sky and I hammer the throttle, I was expecting it to bobble around a little bit. Zero. With some really light motors and really light props. It was an absolute joy to fly. Let's see. Kids are saying, hey, big thanks to Toms for the pin drop update to DIY FPV. There we go. It was a good question. Had to think about it. That was a real Jesse Pinkman looking thumbnail. Which one? This one we've got right here? This is not my thumbnail. This is actually Nick FPV's thumbnail right there. So he came, visited, hung out, and then we went for a rip. And that's the drone. That's what you are going to win if you put that down there. Now, let's do an experiment just very quickly. Let me know if this mucks up my microphone by putting this drone magnet near it. So let me know if this goes crackly. So I'm going to be just talking about this drone, and then I'll know this for the future. I've got the magnet right next to the microphone, blah, 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 blah. Has it gone crackling? I'm taking it away. And then is it still crackly? Or was the microphone fine the whole time? And it was just a coincidence that we're talking about that drone right there. Please throw that in the chat. All right. Let's see. Nope, it was not. Doesn't look like it was that. It's all fine, no issues. Okay, now Kiz is talking about this feature as well. So he's saying thanks for the pin update. And I'd love to know how many people are getting these messages, because if you head over on DIY FPV and we have a look at the map, what we have done, and I've noticed I've gotten a few of these emails, if you've got the notifications turned on, is when somebody puts a pin somewhere in the map that is, I think we've got it set to 50 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles, maybe like 30 miles. But if someone puts, someone's put a pin out here in the middle of the ocean. If someone says, hey, this is where I'm based, this is where I'm flying around, you should get a notification in here as well. So I think his is, I don't want to dox him too much. I think he's over in the UK somewhere. But yeah, if someone put down a little pin, you'll get a notification, which is a big reason why I built DIY FPV. It's so pilots can communicate, they can meet up, they can go for a flight. Soon we're going to be adding some stuff for flying spots and some other events and those sorts of things that are around. But yeah, you should be able to if you want to fly with other people. That's why we built the website DIY FPV. Simply go on here and register, drop your pin somewhere. You don't have to drop the pin if you don't want to. And then you can find some pilots to fly around with, which I think is a big plus in today's day and age. When I started FPV, this sort of stuff didn't exist. There was no way to find other pilots who were flying FPV. Donnie's saying, look at those notifications. Yeah, I'd never want to clear this. I've been sort of saving that. That's like maybe not a badge of honor, but I don't know. I know I could clear it, and I do get a lot of notifications here. Yours is not going to be anywhere near this. This is just mine. Someone's saying, couldn't believe it. I got notified in the middle of Iowa. Yeah, hopefully you sent them a message back and said, yo, let's go for a flight. Let's meet up. Let's find some cool bandos to fly around or practice some racing. I couldn't get my profile pic to upload in DIY FPV. That's from Bull. Can you try a different picture? Try a different format maybe. Maybe the file size was too big. I will investigate, but see if you can always change it as well, but see if you can upload some, because I can see like a lot of these people, they've got, this is the default one, but these people have changed theirs. So you definitely can do that. Maybe Try a different picture. Try a smaller file size. Maybe it needs to be a square. I don't know the exact specifics of it, but a little bit of investigation, that would be nice. And then I can try and rectify that issue and find that out. If you just want to send me a message and on DOA FPV, say, hey Stu, this is the file I was using. It wasn't working. I tried these different variations. Then I might be able to fix that. Okay. Next thing, unless you got any questions, please feel free to throw that in the chat. That is really difficult for my brain to say. We're going to be talking about the HDZERO Radio, which dropped last week or in the last couple of days, and it looks like a budget entry radio to get people flying and enjoying the hobby. Now, traditionally, one of the criticisms of HDZERO is, hey, if you look at their goggles, they're the most expensive goggles on the market, but the HDZERO Radio looks like it is coming in for the other end, and it's all about getting people flying and offering them a choice and something to use on the budget side of things. So if I find the radio right here, which I've got, jumping over this is the radio. There's a whole bunch of videos about it as well. I would love to do some work with HDZERO, but I don't think that's ever going to happen. But this radio, on first impressions and what people were saying, it looks like a solid choice if you want to jump in. It's got ELRS, look, we've got 250 milliwatts, and it's doing a lot of features that keep it in the HDZERO ecosystem with the things that those pilots are going to use, like backpack features and being able to set your VTX and your goggles and everything through your radio and having them all talk to each other. If you want to get in deep dive and use it like that, you are really going to like this. Now, what else have we got in here? I did see, I think it was some Ryan going through some of these features as well. It has, like, did it say like a training mode or something? So if you want to teach people to fly, I don't know if that's the same radio in their hands. I'm not sure. I don't know what type of drone that is, but yeah, I do any radio that can teach other people to fly. The big one, looking at the price, $54. The gimbals, they have some like little stick ends that you can unscrew on there. Do they have any actual photos of it, or are these just renders? All right, here we go. USB-C charging. It does have a big battery inside, so a big LiPo. Some of the differences, this is probably a hard place to choose a radio if you are just starting out, because we have things like the T8L. I would say this is significantly better than the T8L, but it is coming into stiff competition when it comes up to, so we can get it for $54. That's over on HDZERO's website, versus the Radio Master Pocket, which I've got right here, which if I jump over to DOA FPV, and we want to find out how much that is, let's have a look. $64. So it's about a $10 difference. This is my radio, like gold standard, that I recommend to everybody. It probably is my favorite radio. I think more of this radio has been sold than any others. I don't know if the HDZERO one actually has any gimbal adjustments. If you open that up, I don't know if anybody's seen that, if they can confirm if you can adjust the gimbals on here. I do like that it's a gamepad style function. I think that's really big for people coming into the hobby when you want a budget radio. Now, what is the actual firmware that it is running? One press binding, dedicated shortcut plus full ELRS menu access. I don't hate having a bind button, as long as it's not accidentally pressed. It's cool, it's got an OLED. So I think the battery life in this is going to last forever. Want to update the firmware or switch ELRS versions? Contact. Just plug it into the HDZERO programmer. HDZERO is doing a lot. I think they're, look at this. Oh, we've got 10 hours. 10 hours battery life. HDZERO is doing a lot for this lower end market, which I have to say is really, really nice to see. And then the switches. Is there a breakdown of the switches at all? 10 channels. And I would love to know if these switches here are latching switches or temporary switches. If anybody's seen that, that would be great to find out. Because if HDZERO is putting both of these as a latching switch, that'd be great. That is something that I really, really enjoy about the Radio Master Pocket, and I don't know why more people don't do that. But yeah, a latching switch on the right and the left means it doesn't. This is the most common place to put an arm switch. If HDZERO is sort of listened there, I think that's good, because not everybody arms on the left. I think it is actually better to arm on the right. Firmware is custom so that new people don't get overwhelmed with the menu choices of EdgeTX or OpenTX. Some are latching and some are temporary. Okay. Can we find out if this right-hand side one just here is... I really hope that please be a latching switch. That would be nice. Happyfly says, it was great to meet Ryan from HDZERO USA at the Micro Drones races at the museum a couple of weeks ago. Super humble person and down to earth. Yeah, he's always been really supportive. And even though HDZERO and myself have had some discrepancies in the past, his comments have always been really, I guess, just like not... How am I going to word this? Yeah, just down to earth guy. Just not terribly aggressive or anything like that. Just very to the facts and supportive of everybody in the hobby. I think he does a great job. He's a really good rep for HDZERO. I don't know what his specific role is there, but he does so much for HDZERO, and I think a big part of the success is having him in that brand. He's a great person to lead this brand there. All right. And we've got some head tracking as well. Should you get this radio? Well, I think it's better than the other budget radios out there. The big difference is, would you get this or would you get the Radio Master Pocket? I don't know. The Radio Master Pocket, I don't think you get batteries in there. This comes with a battery. I do prefer the 18650s versus the inbuilt LiPo that we've got in here. But this does make it pretty simple. And there'd be nothing wrong with it as well. I don't see any people having some glaring issues with it. I think when I watched Mad's text video, he said that there was one thing about like the buttons pressed down when he closes it. I've had that happen with a lot of radios though, so I don't think that's unique to HDZERO. I guess it comes down to, do you want EdgeTX? For me, it would actually come down to some advantages, I guess, of the Pocket is if you wanted to, you can upgrade this these gimbals in the Pocket. And when it comes to the antenna on here, I don't know what the actual antenna size is that we've got. So we've got an inbuilt antenna. I don't know what that would be like if you were going to go and you wanted to orientate your antenna. You've got a little bit more options when it comes to the Pocket one, but I don't think you're going to be doing long range with either of these anyway. And I think they're the same milliwatts. What's the Radio Master Pocket's milliwatts? Let's have a look. Let's go to, what do we got here? Which site are we going to pick today? Let's go to Race Day Quads. Those are all on pre-orders. Oh, that one's on pre-order, pre-order. Interesting. What about Pyro Drone? In stock. Is it 250 or is it 300 milliwatts? That's something else as well. You can put modules on the back. I don't think we're really going to be doing that. Features. Can anyone see this? Specifications. RF power. Okay, 250 milliwatts max. There we go. So it has the same milliwatts as the Radio Master Pocket. This is from Shoot FPV. Mads Tech thinks the nano gimbals might fit in there. That'd be cool if you could just switch them in. I don't know if are they Hall effect gimbals or what's inside here as well. That'd be interesting to test out. Anyway, nonetheless, it's always good to have more options, and whether you're going to get like really high-end radios, there's going to be a lot of people that coming into the hobby, and if you already have a HDZERO set of goggles, I would think there'd be a lot of brand loyalty there. When like, oh, I really like the goggles, I might just pick this up. And maybe they sell it as like a combo set. I think that would be probably pretty big if they sold the box goggles, sold this radio, and then maybe with one of their little drones or something. Their potentiometer gimbals, pots. Okay. I wonder why they went that route. But let me know. Would you get this radio? I guess one thing to think about too is I do like the color choices we have with the Radio Master Pocket. This is an old radio too, so I don't know. And I haven't had any issues with mine. It has stood the test of time. Maybe if they had some different colors, maybe they'll come out with a special red version in a little bit. They are not Hall effect. Yeah. Double A says yes. I don't know what he means. AJ1 Nanos are a direct swap. Well worth it. Is that from Alex? Are you saying they fit in here or just inside your pocket? And someone said, I always thought it came with Hall effect. Yeah, it's been a little while actually since we've gone to potentiometers. Don't know. I don't have the skills to say that they make a huge difference in my everyday flying, even with the most high-end gimbals. And I can't stress this enough. No matter which radio you get, if you are watching this right now and you're worried about your gear, remember, it's not about having the best gear. It is about having the best time. If you have this new HDZERO radio, you're going to have a great time flying FPV. I would have a great time flying around with my friends with that system. If you are flying around on a really high-end, like the most expensive radio out there, you're still going to have a great time. And if you are flying around with something incredibly old, but you're having a blast, that's what it's all about. Double A says, I would recommend this radio in a heartbeat, might get one someday. There we go. That's from Double A. And then I think that's some pretty solid advice. I would love to test one out. Can we talk about something else before I need to order one? That's from Happy Flyer RC. Well, and here's a big question. What does this radio do? Or what does any new product do? Let me jump over. What does this radio do that your current radio doesn't do? I hope people ask that before they purchase any product. Because you can just go fly what you have. All right. Buy what you can, fly what you have. Yeah, buy what you need is probably a big one. So if you are already flying and you don't need this. Unless you want a little travel compact radio and you don't like ELRS. But great starting radio. And not needing Edge TX isn't necessarily a bad thing if people want that simplicity and want it to be dumbed down, because you really just need arm switch, like a mode switch, and then what else? Like maybe a beeper, flip over after crash. There's not too much that you need to worry about. I got the Pocket because of your review. This is from Head FPV, and he's going to say, and I got to say, it's a good radio. I really like it. It is probably my #1 choice recommendation for people to get. The larger top switches are latching. Yes, there we go. That's from Kiz FPV. So if true, that's a plus. If these large top switches are latching, I really like that. The right one is momentary. Below are 2 more buttons on each side. So I think these back ones maybe. The right one is momentary and the left is latching. All right, as long as this top right one for me is a latching switch, that's what I want. I think Happy Flyer RC, you said you were taking your wife out to dinner tomorrow evening. Is that what you were telling me in that email? Just because she's been so awesome? Yeah, I'm sorry if that was supposed to be a surprise. He said his wife is watching it with him. Okay, let's continue because I want to help some people get flying. That is right here. So this is a bit of a blast from the past. I got this message the other day, or I saw this on Reddit, I should say. And this person needs some help. And I might be one of the few people that can still remember this because I am, getting old, in my 40s. Check this out. right here, we have this. It says, new drone, need help. Spoiler alert, this is not a new drone. However, so I just got this drone off Facebook Marketplace. I traded one of his RC cars. He's got no idea how this works. He said he's getting pretty decent, but he would like to take it out for a flight. He's got some photos of some things he doesn't understand. All the commands in the transmitter are more or less indecipherable to me. Multiple switches, flight modes, that. I am going to make this video now with your help. We're going to diagnose some problems and some things that this guy can do to fix that. And to have a look at what we have, you can see this is the TBS Vendetta, a very old drone. I think it came out in about 2017. And in the back, we have a Tyrannus, and this is the X9D Plus. This is where I'm showing sort of the things that live in my brain right here. And we jump over, you can see, got some numbers on here. It's sort of, this person really would be lost if sort of we've got a Spectrum, I believe, module in the back. And then we've got some other parts right here as well. So this is called, it is a diversity receiver. It used to have a French name when it first released. I can't remember it. This is all very, very old stuff. This right here is your video, for your video link. And look, we had to actually switch things by having some channels. We only have like 3 channels here, maybe 6. And if we go through, LaForge, there it is. There's the LaForge. AA is letting me know. And okay, now you might be saying, Stu, how do we solve these? Like, what are we going to learn? And look at this. This is why we're here, because look what I went and got from the museum. We have the exact drone that was there, and we have the exact radios. So everything I'm about to say, please, I'm saying to help, and it's going to be a learning process. It's not going to be solved instantaneously, and this information is going to be valuable to anybody who is finding an old drone and where to start. First things first, take the props off this drone. You have them in the picture. They're still on there. Take them off, because you are going to cut yourself or cause some serious damage, especially if you don't know what you are doing. Now, number 2, I'm going to give you an analogy. You have just bought a complete entertainment system for your house. You are ready to watch something on Netflix. Now, when you power up your TV, you have to find out, hey, I need to know my Netflix login. I need to know, maybe you're running Netflix through like a special little box that is sending it to your TV, so your HD box. Maybe you need to know what input HDMI that's going to be on. Do you have your internet connection set up? Are you using the remote that came with the TV, or are you going to be using the one that came with the little Netflix box that maybe you're plugging into your TV? There is so many different configurations that you can have, because this is using a whole bunch of gear that is coming together to make that happen. This will fly. You can get it to fly, but we need to break this down first. Now, the first thing, we can easily talk about the video. So jump over here. Getting the video, FPV is all about having 2 systems together. The video that you are going to be seeing, you need to make sure first, let's get our video done, because that is easy. So when you power up this drone, and I think it takes a 4S battery, so you're going to need to have a look at that. Don't get a 6S battery. He says he's got some brand new batteries here. You plug it in, then you should be able to plug these goggles in, put some antennas on here. That's going to help with the reception, and then you can cycle through the channels until you find out exactly what channel you are on. And here's the big one. Don't do auto scan, and you may get an incompatible lock or an incorrect lock. And it's even trickier because we're going back 10 years. I don't know if you can just use smart audio, whole nother thing. The best way would be then to take those goggles, walk outside, get some interference between you and itself, and find out just how well does that picture break up. It is going to break up with more interference, but one channel is going to be significantly better than all the others. You'll be able to get further with that. That should be the channel that you are flying on. So that's relatively easy. Powering up your drone, powering up your goggles, you should be able to get a channel lock. Right here, this is just a supplement for what you have attached right here. This is a LaForge. It's a much better receiver than this. So you don't have to use this. Don't worry about it. This is what you're going to be doing, powering on. I think it's got a little wheel on the side. You can just select that. Someone's saying solid advice here. Love it. Yeah, we're breaking this down for anybody who's getting into FPV. Now, next, this right here is an external module, and this is part of your radio, which we've got right here. Now we need to make your radio talk to your drone. This is the FrSky, the one that you had. A very old radio, my first ever radio that I got in 2015. Still an awesome radio. I did a video recently where I flew around with this. Now the big part here, this radio, in order to talk to the drone that you purchase secondhand, needs to have the correct receiver in here. So the part that is going to be listening to it. So inside mine, I actually don't have at the moment the receiver that will talk to my radio. So inside, when you open this up, and to open this up, you simply take these screws out underneath here. These arms, in a crazy way, actually pop off, even though they've got motor wires. They've got some little channels under here, and they'll have some little XT30 connectors. You'll be able to pop that off. Then you can take off these front screws, and the entire body of this drone insides will actually slide out. You're probably going to have to do that. This is going to be a bit of work. Then you're going to need to look at what receiver you have inside here. Your receiver, which is a little part that communicates with your radio, where they talk back and forth. So when you move this stick, the drone knows, oh, this is what I'm supposed to do. So think of it like the way that they communicate is with a receiver. We need to make sure that you have the same. Now, natively, this is going to use like a FrSky link. That's what this is, the Taranis FrSky. However, you have a module in the back of yours which may be running it instead, which means you'll have to select this to an external. You're going to have to set your radio to use this instead, and depending on whatever receiver's in here. So if this radio speaks French, you want to select a little, this is an example, a hypothetical that I'm using French so you can understand. Make sure that your box on the back here, the module, is speaking French. If this radio is speaking English and the actual whole radio itself is speaking English, make sure that they're selected. So you need to select the one that is going to allow them to talk together. And the only way to do that is to open up your drone and find out what is inside. Now, once you do that, then there's still some more things. You need to configure which buttons do what. So you're going to have to plug this drone. I think it's into Betaflight. It could be with the TBS agent as well. Betaflight is a program. You plug this in. That'll be with USB. You need to download some of that software, and it will tell you, and I think inside is the TBS Power Cube from memory, and you might be able to see that just in the middle. It's in this part, sort of underneath this Velcro in there. It's going to be your ESCs, and it's going to be your flight controller. Oh, actually, my mistake. There is a little USB here on the side. You'll be able to plug that in and connect to Betaflight. You might want to do that first if you don't want to take the rest of it out. Maybe you're just going to get lucky. And inside there, you're going to need to set up your modes and what they want it to do. Now, that should be done after this radio is bound. And then inside your radio, you need to tell it, hey, this is what I would like as my arm switch. Now, what is an arm switch? It means like this is, say, unlock it, let the motors spin, let's go for a flight. Usually, I had mine set to one of these. You need to make sure, even though you set that on the radio, you also need to tell the drone to listen out for that as the arm switch as well. A good example would be if you are in the kitchen and you're cooking some pizzas, you can say, I'm going to put the mushrooms in fridge number 1. You need to make sure that you are telling the chef, can you get the ingredients out from fridge number 1, please? Otherwise, if the chef just goes, oh, I'm going to open up and my old boss told me that mushrooms are always in fridge number 3, they're going to be not getting the correct mushrooms for your pizza. It's the same things here. If you don't tell the drone what your arm switch is and you don't set up your switch that you want to be your arm switch on your radio, it's not going to work. And the reason that it's not plug and play is you can set this up a million ways. You can set this up a million ways. You can set this up with completely different hardware, completely different configurations. It is quite complex, and in 2017, things were so much more complex than it is today. That's probably why I have a job, because these things were very tricky to figure out. Yes, so that's some things right there. Fortunately for you, everything that you have is easy to use in terms of the reference material is still there. You're going to need to learn. You're going to need to look at schematics. You may even need to do some soldering. Those things are just there. Keep it simple, like Stu was explaining. Hopefully, I am explaining some of these okay. Someone's saying on the 50 on the stream, but only 30 likes. Helps Stu in the video. Yeah, it would be. I would appreciate if you would like to hit that like button. It does make a difference. Program the radio like a computer. It can do so much more than you will ever need it. Someone's saying this will make me want to take my old analog drones off the shelf. Okay, yeah. So here you go. This is for this Reddit user here, Long Quiet 7178. This should all work together. You're going to need a 4S battery. You're going to need to get your drone. It said it'll be checking Reddit in the next 2 to 3 hours. Someone says, what you're asking, don't buy this as it's old as hell. I actually really like this drone. I don't think you're going to have the best flight experiences with it. It really is a bit of a dinosaur and a relic, but it's still cool. It really is like a bit of a collector's item. I can't figure out how to get to ARM and get the prop spinning. Batteries are random new. There's a bunch of random switches on the transmitter I've got no clue about. Yeah, that's because you haven't set any of them up. If I walked into, I'm trying to think of an example here. If I had a look at the DOI FPV database on how we handle a lot of things, I don't do coding, so I wouldn't understand how it works. I wouldn't know where to look for what specific information. It is the same thing here. You haven't set your radio up. I suggest you do it from scratch. Learn how to do that, and it's going to need to be the same here. Don't go on what is there. And he's saying the Beta FPV, the web app, isn't currently detecting my drone. No, you need to go to Beta Flight, not Beta FPV. Oh, I downloaded the Clean Flight via the TBS manual, and it worked like a charm and got it running. Okay, we're using Clean Flight, so it's going back even more. The flight experience is going to be not great. I think that's what I actually tried to respond a little bit here and said I wasn't even sure if it's running, if it is running Beta Flight. I don't even remember if it is using Beta Flight. Chris Crawford says the TBS Vendetta was cool. We need new quads like this. They all look nearly the same. The problem is, though, we sort of figured out this is expensive to make. People don't want to pay the price of that. So, where'd I put this? A frame like this, which has carbon fiber and like this amazing 3D shell, is so much more expensive than even this premium frame like this, like flat cut carbon. You don't really get that much benefit, and people don't want to pay that much money. I'm sure you have a radio set up, don't you? Yes, I do. I do have a. I have so many Tyrannus radios there set up. So any of this stuff, it is on my channel. You just have to do some work, and I hope to get this through. It is worth it. FPV is amazing. If you actually get stuck to this Reddit user, please send me a message on DIY-FPV, which is right here. My name is Stu from UAVfutures. I'm going to post this in the chat for you, in that Reddit thing. But you will be able to get it flying. It's not going to be a great experience, but I think you have something really cool. If you traded an RC car, I would prefer this Vendetta any day to an RC car. All right. Let's continue. What else did I have in my stream notes right here? I am looking at the time. If you've got any questions, please, now would be the time to ask. Throw them in the chat. If there's anything you want me to look at, anything cool, let me know if you're going to be going flying soon. We've had so much rain here. We've actually got some flood warnings, and I feel bad for asking for it to rain after having the grass was all starting to die, and now it's had nothing but a month of rain. All right. Okay. This one's about the Cadex Ascent, so a bit of an update on that. I recently did a video saying, look, I don't recommend the Cadex Ascent. They watched that video, they got back to me. I spoke about, hey, they actually had some good feedback, and they said, well, I don't know if this is, it wasn't what we were expecting. Like we as the audience weren't expecting this, but they were like, hey, we understand what you're saying. We would like to change some of those things. And especially when I complained about cables and mountings, they didn't have any indications on whether they're going to fix the video stuttering, which is a big issue of the Cadex Ascent. But they did send this, which was an example when I was complaining about, hey, how do I mount this? I have this. It's a very short video. So let's go here. It looks like we've got the Cadex Ascent and maybe like a magnet system. I'm not too sure. So we've got a little bit of a lanyard. That's it. Let's play this again. So yeah, if you want to mount it, this was sent to me from one of the Cadex teams. Like, hey, we are working on that. So it's something. They are listening. They do need to get new cables. They've acknowledged that. I think it's good to see Cadex maybe dealing with criticism in a constructive way. So that's my update on the Cadex Ascent. I still really like the beta ArtLink system. There's no word on a VRX from them yet. I don't know if that's gonna, I actually don't even know if that's ever gonna happen. And I wonder, we really need a way to change the beta FPV HD headset, take the guts out of that, and almost make our own headset, because it's there. It's there. The system works. We just need a better headset for it. Mel says, 6 years of ripping and flipping and still as good as new, except I put ELRS in it. Are you talking about your TBS Vendetta? Double A says, Stu, I appreciate you visiting the races. Keep it up, buddy, because it's another contact point. I love going to the races. It was awesome. So I will be at the Brisbane races this year. I can't wait for the Australian National Championships. It was so much fun. It was such a blast. The Copus. Oh, is that from Holly, bro? I feel like we could run a quiz here. That'd be, if I ever end up on like a game show and they're talking about specifics, drone manufacturers and models and makes and numbers and which company did this. That's going to be, you know, when people are like, man, how does that person have so much obscure knowledge about this one very specific topic? That's me. All right. And then the last thing, I am working on something over on DIY FPV. I know I keep talking about it all the time because it is made for you guys to get flying, and it does so much for the community. But I would like to, so you know, you've seen our channel organizer where you can add different pilots and allocate channels, and it'll do a lot of like frequency matching and that sort of stuff. We've got our FPV comparison tool. We have like the builder coming in a little bit as well. But something I have been working on in the background, which is just another project that I would like, is some sort of archive that we can have of, if you come across obscure, random solutions, how can we help people out there? Because recently, I was trying to fly this around, and I did fly this around, except unfortunately the part, I did break it on purpose. Well, I tried to fix it, repair it. It was off to the side. This was really fun to fly indoors, but it was stuck a little bit. But it was a nightmare to get flying. And I understand just how tricky it can be to learn and have to discover all these. So I'm trying to build a bit of an archive of all these solutions that help people get flying. What I had to do here was I had to use my Radio Master TX16S and put that into multi-protocol mode with this little receiver that we've got here that only works on like DSMX and some other parts. And then I had to learn about like channel lockout and why the typical radio master link does not go low enough. So I had to add some enable like further trim ends to bring this down even more to like minus 150 to get past a throttle lock. A lot of little solutions like that. I am trying to think of a way which you guys could help me as well, as where we can just post. If you find something, you never know when that one post is going to help people, because we've all been there. We've all been searching for an answer, trying to find Why isn't this working? And chances are somebody else has already discovered the solution to that problem. So I would like a place where we can all get together and just put those random pieces of information where they can come and find that together. So yeah. Someone's saying, where's Johnny DRC? He had to leave early. Johnny DRC had to leave a little bit early. And Isaiah is saying, best way to get into FPV today. I was thinking about getting the Beta Air 65 since I live in the States and it's cheap. There is nothing wrong with getting in with that drone. Do you have a radio? Do you have goggles? Analog goggles, probably a little bit of a interesting question as well. And it depends just how much money you want to spend. Or should I try the new digital budget? What would I get? And it depends what sort of flying you want to do as well. Oh, this is when I'm taking a while to answer here. And let me know if you started FPV tomorrow, what would you get? And you are starting a starting kit, not like we were talking about a budget kit, not go out and buy the most expensive things there are. You are starting tomorrow, or somebody's asking for a budget kit. What would you recommend? You could go analog. Yeah. I also don't hate the idea of a beta FPV system for their digital. I just don't like the goggles. Everything that you get, it is going to have some limitations. The benefit is the price. The price is going to be cheap, but everything else, there is going to be some limitations in what you get. It's quite competitive with all the different options. Do you go DJI and get an N3 and spend a little bit more money? Do you want to go the Cadex, the old version, and get the avatars but spend a little bit more on their air units? Do you want to get the new beta FPV system? Do you want to get analog and just fly around whoops? Like there's a lot of different options. Someone's saying no Cetus. Yeah, don't get the Cetus. I do not like the Cetus at all. Trail says HDZERO Box Pro goggles and the Air 65 or Air 75 and the Radio Master Boxer. Solid choice. Solid choice if you're going to go analog. Absolutely. And Quick says, I recently got into FPV. Get a TX15, buy the Air 65, buy the EV800Ds, then just buy the DJI goggles and DJI AirNets. You'll grow into DJI. That's a lot of purchases all at once. If you're going to be buying that, I don't know. And getting a sim is always important. I wish Beta FPV could have the Meteor instead of the Aquila. Actually, can you get... Let's go to Beta FPV here. Because you can... I mean, I would build my own drone. Let's have a look. Can we get any of these? Sold out, sold out, sold out. Oh my gosh. I wonder if we could get some of these without a VTX. Well, a lot of these are sold out, but that would be another recommendation. I would probably, based on my flying, I would maybe think about getting... Oh, it's so tricky. If I went these, and I got them with this air unit, so let's say we're spending $200, give or take, on our digital system. I would put it in something like the Lightning V2, which I think I did have one around here the other day, one of my all-time favorite drones. But you're still stuck with these goggles. Yeah, I really need to... here's the hard part. I really need to test the HDZERO box goggles too. I would love to do a review on them. I would love to try them out, even for the analog recommendation, because they have then the ability to be able to put a HDMI feed into them. We'll have to see. Happy Fly says, I've been very happy with DJI Digital, but I'm a cruiser and not a racer. Yeah, I agree. Like, and DJI is my system of choice. If I'm going to fly around, that's what I'm going to take. But I understand it's more expensive as well. Box Pro look great value-wise. I wish that was around when I bought my Sky Zone Cobra X. Alrighty. I think, guys, that's going to be it for today. I would just like to say that no matter where you are in the world, thank you for watching. It means a lot to me, and you are valued. Thank you for being here. You are cared about. You are part of this community. We don't tell ourselves that enough, and you might think that I'm talking to somebody else or whatever, Stu. Just say, no, listen, I am saying that to you. Thank you for being here, and I'm proud of you, and you are always welcome. You are here, you are seen, you are heard, and you are not alone. Even though we're on the other side of the planet, or wherever you are, if it's hitting your ears and you're thinking, okay, Stu, then that means it's true. You are valued and cared about. Thank you. All right. On that, I'm going to say subscribe for more FPV related content. Thank you so much to those people who became members, and thank you for those bonus members as well, Shoot FPV, and thank you for my very first super chat in here as well. Let me scroll all the way up. Was it Handy Race? Oh, it's disappeared. That was over an hour ago. My brain is melting here. You guys are incredible. If you would like to support the channel and support what we do, please think about becoming a member. There's a little button down there. You get some cool emojis. You get some bonus videos to watch as well. Plus, you get to support this message of sharing FPV as a positive driving force for just having a great life with FPV, sharing it with as many people and getting them enjoying the hobby. Today might be the day when you say, Stu, I like what you do. I've watched your stuff for a long time and I appreciate the content that you make. That link, it is there. It makes a huge difference. So if today is the day when you think, all right, I will sign up, I want to say thank you. On that, subscribe for more FPV related content, and I will see you all same time next week. And join that giveaway too. So over on DIY FPV, go check it out. I've got a post there. You can win one of Nick FPV's frames for the Archetype. All right, happy flying.